If you like our video, click the button to subscribe to our channel and get easy access to new content. To see our full suite of ad-free video courses, instruction manuals, and quick reference guides, visit us at www.teachucomp.com. You can add text to closed paths and shapes you draw in Photoshop. If you choose to add text to a closed path or shape in Photoshop, you can either add the text to its path border, where the text appears as point text along its edge, like when you add text along the border of an open path, or you can add it into the center of the closed path or shape as paragraph text. Adding text to a closed path or shape's path border adds the text as point text. However, you can choose on which side of the path to type. You can add text to a path or shape using any of the type tools, but be aware of the restrictions of using the type mask tools, as the raster text they create restricts resizing the text without losing text clarity. While we haven't yet discussed paths and shapes in Photoshop in detail at this point in the tutorial, you will learn about them in the next chapter. In short, both paths and shapes produce vector data, much like the horizontal type tool or vertical type tool. This lets you resize them without reducing their clarity or sharpness. A path is the vector data that determines the outline of a shape or line. A shape is vector data that contains a defined combination of a path, stroke, and fill. However, you can add strokes and fills to both paths and shapes. A path is just a line or outline that is not defined the way a shape is, like a triangle, for example. Paths can be open paths, in which the end point of the path doesn't connect back to its starting point, or they can be closed paths, which connect the ending point of the path back to its starting point. There are many ways to create paths and shapes in Photoshop. You can convert paths to shapes and vice versa. You can also convert either paths or shapes to selections or vice versa. You'll see many ways to create paths and shapes in the next chapter. However, let's examine how to create a basic shape now, so you can see how to add text to a shape in Photoshop. To create a shape in Photoshop using the Rectangle tool, which lets you create a rectangle or square shape, first select an empty raster layer in the Layers panel to convert into a shape layer, or select a layer with content above which to create a new shape layer. Then choose the Rectangle tool from the Tools panel in Photoshop. This tool shares the same button as the Ellipse tool, Triangle tool, Polygon tool, Line tool, and Custom Shape tool, and the button shows the icon of the last tool selected. So if needed, click and hold down on this button in the Tools panel, and then select Rectangle tool from the side menu that appears to select it. Ensure Shape is selected from the Pick Tool Mode dropdown in the Options bar control panel if needed. Then click and drag in the selected layer over the area to cover with a rectangle shape. When you release the mouse button, you add the rectangle shape and either convert the selected layer into a shape layer or add a new shape layer above the selected layer based on your previous layer selection. Alternatively, to add text to a closed path, select the closed path in the Paths panel at this point. To then add text to the selected path or shape, select the desired Type tool to use to create the text from the Tools panel. To create vector text within a new type layer, choose either the Horizontal Type tool or Vertical Type tool. Alternatively, to create a raster text selection, you can then fill and/or stroke in a selected raster layer. Select either the Horizontal Type Mask tool or Vertical Type Mask tool. Then choose whether to add the text as point text along the border of the path or shape, or add the text as paragraph text within the closed path or shape. To add point text to the path or shape's border, hover your mouse pointer at the point on the path or shape's border at which to start typing until the mouse pointer cursor turns from an I-beam icon surrounded by a box to an I-beam icon bisected by a wave. When the icon appears like this in the desired border position, then click once to add some placeholder point text to the selected path segment and switch to the selected tool's text editing mode. Then change the text area if available and type the text as when adding text along an open path or shape, as shown in the previous lesson titled How to Add Text to the Border of an Open Path or Shape in Photoshop. You can review this lesson to see how to add text to the shape or path's border if needed. Alternatively, to add paragraph text inside a closed path or shape in Photoshop, which constrains the text's bounding box to the fill area of the selected closed path or shape, instead hover your mouse pointer over the fill area inside the closed path or shape until the mouse pointer icon turns into an I-beam enclosed within a circle. When it appears like this, click to add a bounding box of placeholder paragraph text to its fill area. Then set the formatting options for the selected Type tool in the Options bar control panel, and type the text to show within the bounding box in the closed path or shape's fill area as usual. When typing the text, you can move and resize the bounding box of the paragraph text as usual. However, that will often cause the text in the bounding box to spill over the constraining shape. To keep the text within the shape, it may be better to reduce the font size instead, and then resize the shape and its separate text layer after confirming the text. To confirm the paragraph text after typing it, click the Confirm button in the Options bar control panel. Alternatively, to cancel the text, click the Cancel button. After creating text within a closed path or shape in Photoshop, Photoshop then either creates a separate type layer for the text in the Layers panel, or it creates a text selection you must then fill or stroke within a raster layer. However, note that this process always creates a separate layer from any selected shape layer. This means you can easily move and edit the text and the shape layers separately. To prevent moving the text and shape layer separately if desired, select the two layers to link together in the Layers panel, and then select Layer, Link Layers from the menu bar to link them together. When linked, if you move one layer using the Move tool in Photoshop, you will also move its linked layer too. To scale the shape and text together, select the Move tool in the Tools panel in Photoshop. Then select both the text layer and shape layer in the Layers panel. Then hold your mouse pointer over the resizing handle to use to scale the layers, and click and drag. Then release the mouse button when they are the size you want. This symmetrically scales both the text within the text layer and the shape. Alternatively, to simultaneously resize a shape layer and the bounding box of the paragraph text in a type layer without scaling, if you created the type layer for the shape in Photoshop using either the horizontal type tool or vertical type tool, select the type layer and the shape layer in the Layers panel. Then select Edit, Free Transform Path from the menu bar. Then hold your mouse pointer over the resizing handle to use to resize the layers, and then click and drag. Then release the mouse button when the shape and text are the size you want to resize both the bounding box of the text and the shape, but not scale the text within the type layer. You can then edit the text within the type layer using the type tool you used to create it, to edit the text to adjust for the new size of its bounding box as needed. Remember to click the subscribe button to see more of our videos. See our full suite of courses, instruction manuals, and quick reference guides at www.teachucomp.com.